Welcome everyone for this exciting session on audit requirements for Google Cloud Platform, which is GCP. This is our third of the series. The first one was on AWS, Amazon AWS. Second, we conducted one was on Azure, Microsoft Azure, and this is the third of the series on the cloud platforms and IaaS environments auditing, specifically intended for the cloud service providers who are hosting their PaaS or IaaS on these platforms. And this is going to be an exciting session again, which will be led by Mr. Swami, who is on the call with me. And I will start with the introduction. Welcome everybody again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. And this is our finale, the last rather webinar for 2022. And we will be having our next webinars only in January. Stay tuned for the next sessions. So our agenda today is the overview of the GCP, and then we will look at the audit requirements for GCP cloud environment, looking into these areas such as identity and access management, detection, infrastructure protection, data protection, security incident and event management, which is a SIM, and then the governance piece of it and the security privacy and the governance and privacy compliance piece of it. Next slide. So about us, many of you know us. We are an ISO IEC accredited certification body. We are a CPA firm listed with PCOAB, and we are also one of the 15 only companies empaneled by Cloud Security Alliance for doing cloud security audits. The IFIS is the accreditation that we have for ISO, and we are one of the few entities worldwide that can do both SOC 2 and ISO on one single brand. Next slide. Some of the services that we do is SOC test reports, ISO IC certifications, US federal assessments, India certain assessments, privacy assessments, VAPTs, cloud security assessments, and other cybersecurity services. So these are the details of the services that we do. SOC reports cover most of the SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3, SOC for supply chain, SOC for cyber risk, etc. Being a CPA firm ourselves, we can do all of these audits ourselves in-house. We don't rely on any third parties, etc. Even the ISO IC certifications, everything is done in-house. Most of the data security and privacy standards are covered, including the 9000 standard. And for federal assessments, we do the FedRAM, CMMC, and the FISMA. For India, certain assessments, we do the Aadhaar audits, safe to host audits, RBI audits, and other audits based on SEBI or other directives. For privacy assessments, we cover end-to-end GDPR, CCPA, HIPAA, and all of the privacy requirements worldwide. For VAPT, we cover the entire gambit of application security, network security, cloud security, mobile security also. And then we've cloud security assessments, we do the cloud pen testing, we do the cloud container security assessments, we do supply chain assessments, we also do the CSAs, STAR, and the German standard C5 compliances. And in other services, we do the IoT security, even the hardware security we can do, SCADA, ICA security, blockchain security, and also if you need a long-term VAPT contractual people, we can provide you who are trained for a long-term basis, 6 months to 1 year minimum. So if you're looking forward to hire somebody full-time on VAPT and not able to get it, please reach out to us. So our VAPT, we also have VAPT training courses. We do the OSCP training courses leading to certification. We do the cloud pen tester certifications. We do the red teaming, and these are the in-house trainings that we conduct for even for our own requirements as well as for individuals and corporates. Next one. So of course, our USP, SOC 2 and ISO. Integrated audits always save time, and that's the whole advantage of organizations coming to us to do the integrated audits. And we have more than 5,000 cloud audits completed till date. 99% of our clients are repeat clients. We have more than 500 global clients, and we have about 20 years of experience in the industry. That's me. Many of you may know me, or also maybe having LinkedIn connections. I own the Accedere corporation. I'm the co-founder. I'm also the CEO, and we focus on the SOC audits, as we already know. I've been in this industry for almost 20 years, since 2002, and I am certified as CPAs, MBA, CITP, CSSP, CISA, CISM, CISC, and so on. Many of these certifications in this 20 years I have attained. So that's my profile. You can see some of my publications online. The links have been given here. You can reach me on LinkedIn if required. And next is, I think, Mr. Swami, your introduction, and over to you. Please carry on from here.
Yeah, thank you, Ashwin. Myself, I'm working here in audit as audit delivery head at Accedere. I have 37 years of experience in IT industry, 10 plus years of experience in GRC compliance. Also, I'm a qualified MCA, and then I'm a certified ISO 27000 lead auditor, and I have knowledge on cloud security and SOC 2 assessments. Also conducted a lot of SOC 2 and ISO 27000 assessments. Achieved organization-wide certification in my previous tenure, and then monitored a lot of ISMS implementation and audited ISMS and SOC requirements. You can reach out to me in my LinkedIn also. That is given there. Now, coming back to today's topic, it is going to be on the audit requirements for Google Cloud Platform. First and foremost, we need to understand what is GCP and the overview. It's not going to be taking too much of your time, but we just want to give that it is designed for cloud-based business, enables development of application for building, deploying, scaling, monitoring, and operating cloud computing services. And it is going to be cost-effective. Products and tools are available for you to leverage from it. Also provide security, privacy, and compliance services through architecture framework. And it's going to be the strength of GCP. For that, we will just see what are all the audit requirements for GCP cloud environment that we will be looking at. From that perspective, that security, identity, and compliance are going to play a major role in terms of enabling any kind of business and also to your clients. So the GCP is one platform where you will be using the facility and ensure that all your resources that you are using in cloud are enabled and available, and also available as secure to your customers as well as for your usage. From that perspective, we are going to look at topics on identity access management and detection, infrastructure protection, data protection. Say SAUM, that is on security incident and event management and security privacy compliance. Our purpose of this agenda, purpose of this webinar is to make sure that you know what are all the tools available for you, and also you can leverage that tool for your securing your organization from the cloud perspective. And as you know, in all clouds, there are two things. One is called shared responsibility model. From the shared responsibility model perspective, the cloud of the cloud is being taken care by security of the cloud is taken care by the cloud service provider, and the security in the cloud is being taken care by the customers based on the type of platform what are the services that you are planning to take from the cloud service provider. Based on that, you have to follow that shared responsibility model also with this. Now, coming back to the next thing, what are all the things that we are looking at from the identity access management perspective? What are all the tools or product available from Google are cloud identity and access management. And the detection perspective, they have security command center, network intelligence center, and cloud logging and monitoring features. Also, they have, from the infrastructure protection. Infrastructure consists of both network and application, and also the hardware part, which consists of, where we will be using the Google Cloud Firewall and Google Cloud Armor, and then Cloud DNS and Cloud Interconnect. All these features are available for you to leverage from. And also from the data protection perspective, as you know, the data needs to be protected at rest as well as in transit. And also we used to use the cloud data loss prevention feature and cloud key management service, cloud HSM, and certificate authority services for using the transit data secure in transit, and also secret manager and confidential computing are the features that we will be using. And from the security incident and event management, we have a GCP Chronicle, which will be used for the purpose of protecting all your security incidents and other things aspect. And from the security privacy compliance perspective, we have a feature called Azure Workloads, and also all the security features that are being provided by Google Cloud. You can take it that from the Google certification certificate site. From there, you can look at what are all the compliance they are providing. They are providing compliance on the Jaffrey level, and also at the product level, and what are all the things that they are providing. You should be able to get those reports from their websites. Now, coming back, the first and foremost important aspect is for any cloud environment, identity and access management is going to be the vital part. For that, cloud is GCP. The Google Cloud Platform is provided with cloud identity in a single class with a single sign-on feature and cloud directory, account security, user lifecycle management, device management, reporting and analysis, application management, and extensible through APIs. Based on the organization's requirement, one can enable these features and then leverage that to ensure that all your people who are using the Google Cloud environment and your applications are identified, and they are the authorized users to use those applications and things like that, and they are using valid devices and things like that. Yeah. From that perspective, it is going to be helpful. And from the identity access management, as you know, that we will be able to have allow policy and deny policy and role binding. We have principles and you know, uh, principles and the others aspect of it. We have that have the thing right. Once we have principle, role, and policy are being provided with, and which will be allow you to configure, and then based on that, the identity and access management is being done. Now, going back to the next important slide is that. It is going to be what are all the things that we will be looking at from the audit perspective. We need to look at the user access provision list and also revoked user access list, privileged user access list, revoked privileged user access list, and user access review report. All that we will be looking at from the user access perspective. From the groups perspective, the same way, whatever groups you are creating, how these groups are, whether the groups which are not used, which are not required, either been removed on time as per the same. And we also look at whether different types of groups, you may be having user groups and privileged user groups. All that we will be looking at. Revoked user groups and privileged user groups also we will be looking at. And also there also you have to do a review of it. It's not enough to do it only with user access. You also need to do the review with the groups. That also we will be looking at. And then we also will look at what are all your access control metrics that is you are using for providing access to resources and the access to workloads and access to applications and everything. What are all the access you are provided for whom with based on the roles. And when I talk about role-based access, again, as per role, you will be looking at all the roles and what are all the access you have provided and whether you are periodically reviewing it or not. Anything that important review is going to be one of the important aspect from identity and access management. It's not only in identity and access management, for all other areas also, a review is going to play a major role. Once the review is done perfectly, and then if you are able to see that all your process are inbuilt and inbuilt processes are implemented, then you are going to have a smooth sailing. Now, Coming back to the detection part, it is going to be GCP has a security command center, which has the ability to discover assets, find vulnerabilities, and detect threats, also identify misconfigurations. These are all going to be continuously monitored by the security command center. If you leverage this, then you are going to ensure that the any kind of alerts that are coming to you, you should be able to know on time and able to take a remedial action. So based on that, you will be able to ensure that your security of your organization, security of your application is ensured. Now, coming back to the network side, we also need to constantly monitor the network from the topology perspective, from the connectivity perspective, from the firewall perspective, and from the network analyzer perspective. And we are also having performance dashboard, which is going to be one of the important aspects from where you will know how what is your status of your network, whether it is up and running, or what kind of changes you need to do, ensure that any kind of anomalies you identified or corrective actions need to be done with reference to ensuring that your security network security is ensured. So for that, you can use and leverage the feature of network intelligence center for in Google Cloud. Now, another aspect is cloud logging and monitoring, where we will be able to do this log viewer and to create logs. Also, we have to have a log syncs, also manage retention and set up policies. All these configurations we have to do in advance and ensure that they are working correctly. For that, we need to do monitoring, clouds and data dashboards, charts and dashboards, and then alerts and notifications. Alerts and notifications comes from each and every aspect of your cloud monitoring. Now, coming back from the audit perspective, what we will be looking at, we will be looking at the configurations that you have made with reference to cloud monitoring, and also with reference to alerts that you have set. And if there is any changes that we need to do, you have to periodically evaluate and then see that all your threats and vulnerabilities are identified and they are addressed and remediated. From that perspective, you will be looking at the analysis part of the logs and findings, metrics also, and automatic response to events. Not only automatic, because it's not enough you get the alert and then you have to do something manually. By the time you try to do the corrective action, everything would have gone. So you need to have automatic response for any kind of misconfiguration that you identify or any anomaly you identify. You have to put proper controls in place from that perspective and ensure that they are working well and ensure that it is meeting the organization security requirements as well as your business requirements as well as the client's requirements. That perspective, the next important aspect is protecting the infrastructure. Protecting the infrastructure consists of two parts: one in network, and another one is your application that you are hosting. When from the network perspective, you have features called Google Cloud Firewall, and you have where we can set up hierarchical firewall policies at the organization level, at the folder level, at the project level, and whenever you use any virtual private cloud, for that also you can set up firewall rules and things like that. So use these features, what is available using Google Cloud Firewall. You are going to protect your network. And also the another one is then Google Cloud Armor. If you look at it here, we are having called cloud load balancing feature and cloud CDN features and cloud armor features, which will enable you to ensure that there is no issue that you are getting from in your environment and things like that. It's going to help you on that. Now, coming back to cloud DNS, it is going to help HSPS static site balancing and cloud storage. HTTPS load balancer is there, and then web server, multiple web servers that you have. How are you going to monitor all that? You can use cloud DNS, which enable you to publish your names and then uh, publish globally, and then this can be used for that. Now, coming back to the cloud internet, it is going to give you a dedicated connectivity between your on-prem services, on-prem to your cloud environment. There is no, it is not going via any other third-party network, internet, or anything. So that way, if you want to have a connectivity between your on-prem and this thing, then you can use this feature of cloud internet interconnect. All this you can use it. Now, from the perspective of infrastructure protection audit requirements, what we will be looking at, what are all the different configurations that you have done with reference to firewall, what are all the alerts that has created, and what are the action taken, whether it is meeting the requirements of it or not, and all that things we will be looking at. From the application protection perspective, you will be having the WAF logs, web application firewall logs, which will be used. Cloud Armor is also be used. When you use that, then we will be looking at what are all the configurations that you have set, and whether it is meeting the requirements or not. And we will be seeing whether you are able to meet as per your SLA that you have defined with your clients and things like that. Yeah, from that perspective, this all infrastructure protection will be done. That's not. Then from the data protection, as you all know, data need to be protected at rest and also in transit. From that perspective, you are going to use cloud data loss uh, prevention. Where what happens is that it needs to be done through data read and identification, and also data validation and re-identification to be done. Configuration of DLP template, they have key management. There are different templates available for cloud DLP enablement and cloud KMS enablement, security admins, other data storage. All that is available for you. You can use this and then leverage this from your perspective. Cloud key management services is another aspect. As you know that any data that you are encrypting, you will be using your public and private key. All the keys are need to be protected from the perspective that it is not going to any unauthorized use and things like that. So from that perspective, you will be using the cloud key management service feature. And also there is another aspect like HSM, cloud HSM feature. You can use any one of it based on your requirement, and then you can try to take forward. Now, coming back on the certificate authority services, also you will be using it for simply deployment management and the PKI requirement, and customize the certificate authority service to your needs, but also have peace of mind, knowing that your CA service is highly available and scalable and backed up by an SLA. By defining and configuring it properly, you will be able to do that. And from secret manager is probably used to ensure that keys are securely kept, and it is not going to unauthorized play people. All that is been done. It has been made least privilege made easy. Simplified lifecycle management and powerful auditing is also built in. Basically, all features that are there in been enabled with audit logs and things like that. You have to enable that features, and then only you will be able to get all the features of secret manager and leverage from increasing your security feature, security posture. Now on the data protection. Then now confidential computing, where it has the feature of both data in transit and data in use and data at rest are protected, and you encryption is enabled and things like that. For that, you will be using the confidential computing. From that perspective, it is going to helpful for you. Now, coming to the data protection, what are all the things that we will be looking at? We will be looking at the configuration details and also the encryption enablement related to data at rest and data in transit, monitoring of cloud DLP, cloud KMS, cloud HSM, secret manager, and certificate authority service. It's not enough you monitor, and if you find anything anomaly, then you have to do a corrective action. Whether any corrective action you have done or not also will be evaluated during the audit. Now, coming back to the next part, security incident and event management, which is going to be important aspect from the cloud's perspective. If you look at it, you are going to have a product called Chronicle SIEM, which has the feature to incident investigation, threat hunting, and detection, and third-party applications are integrated and then kept. You can use all these features based on the organization requirement, configure them, and ensure that they are meeting your security requirements as well as your organization business requirements and the client's security requirements. From that perspective, you can configure it, and then you will be able to ensure that your security posture of the organization is elevated. Now, security incident response playbook, whatever document that you prepared, how are you going to set it up? What are the configuration that you are doing it with Chronicle SIEM, and also incident report? Anything that is coming out of Chronicle SIEM you are going to use, or you are going having your own separate template, which we will be looking at, and then also sample incident reports, sample incident communication with relevant interested parties, also analysis of that and any learnings from that incident. How are you going to ensure that it is not repeating? All that things will be looked at from the audit perspective. Now, coming back to the last and important aspect is on providing security, privacy, and compliance, where you are going to use assured workflows, where it is going to take care of all the compliance requirements based on the data where it is reside, based on the personal access, based on the inherited controls that you have, and also you can select assured workloads, can select personal access needs, set the location of data, and configure key management also. And compliance with confidence is going to be repeatable deployments, and also made easy by compliance enforcement. So these are all the features that is there as part of the assured workloads. Um, with that, what is that we will be looking at? What are the configurations that you are done for the assured workloads, and what are the way you are monitoring the workloads also will be looked at from the audit perspective. Any kind of compliance, what are all the different types of compliance that Google platform provides to you, to know that you can look out their SOC reports and their ISO 27000 reports and their other controls, PCI DSS reports, all the different types of controls and reports that they have, all available in their website. You can go into that, and then you can have a look at it and then decide whether it is going to meet your organization requirements or not, or your security requirements or not. If not, what is the additional control that you need to implement? Also, you can look at it and then take care of it. So that's it from my side. This whatever information we have provided is all in general in nature. We have not talked about any of the specific organization requirements here, which are general audit principles we have talked. Beyond that, nothing else. This is a disclaimer from our side, and that's it from Ashwin. Can you do a closing remarks, please?
Yes. So before we do the closing and the questions, there is the question on Q&A box in your display. So we'll run the polls now also, and in the meantime, you can have also post your questions, and whatever whatever we can solve now, the answers we'll do it now. But in the meantime, I will run the poll. So please kindly uh, share your feedback on the polls. In the meantime, also post your questions. So while there is a common question which we usually have across all our webinars is that will we be sharing these slides. So as a company policy, we have a recording of this session, which will be coming to you at the end of the session automatically. We will also be posting this on YouTube. So you can visit our website. There's a link on the homepage for the YouTube. We have more than 15 such webinars conducted in the past 1.5 years. There are more than 15 videos, all relating to SOC 2 and ISO. And now we are coming up with a new channel based on the technical assessments. We already posted one YouTube link on the Log4j vulnerability. And if anybody is interested, you can just message us on email. Maybe we will do that. We can share that YouTube channel for us and channel for you. And that's the common thing. So, we only share the videos. We don't share the PPT slides because that's confidential. And already disclaimers are already provided. Whatever was shared to you was in as a public knowledge and may or may not apply to you specifically. So the next question is how this audit will be conducted. So as part of the cloud security audits, there are two pieces of any cloud security audit. One is a compliance audit, one is a technical audit. So like Swami has elaborated that we look at all of these areas when we do the compliance audits. So when you look at compliances, these are the areas, identity and access management, detection, and so on. These are the areas which are which have been categorized by Cloud Security Alliance, and we have used that framework to look at the compliances and the controls implemented under those control objectives, if you can call them. Right. So when we look at what we will do is when we will ask you to log into your system. We will review all your documentation. We will review your processes, people, process, technology, all the areas to make sure that whether you follow those best practices in your GCP environment or not. So that is a detailed exercise based on what framework we are using, either the SOC 2 or the ISO or the CSA. We will look at those controls and evaluate whether you have fulfilled or met those controls and control objectives or not. So that's the way we conduct these audits. Third question is it a tabletop exercise or any tool based? So as I just explained, so this webinar was targeted rather for compliance audits. So as I just explained in the earlier question, so this is how we do compliance audits. So we also do VAPTs and configuration reviews also as a configuration review and security assessments, technical assessments, which are also tool based and manual. Yes, that can be done. If you're interested in that, please reach out to us. We'll be sure to help you and sure to conduct such VAPTs or configuration reviews for your environment. So the next question is GCP provides Cloud Armor Service WAF. In that case, the application VAPT is required, or GCP provides a security report which fulfills vulnerability management controls of ISMS. So good question. So whether it is a WAF provided by GCP or F5 or any load balancer or any WAF plus load balancer, any such web application firewall, right? At the application side of it, right? From the application side of it, it is the company's responsibility or the cloud service providers or the SaaS service provider's responsibility to do an annual VAPT externally and at least once every quarter or once after every major release internally at least. That is the company's responsibility, right? So GCP is not going to remediate your vulnerabilities. I'm not sure if the WAF does a VAPT or not. It only looks at targets and only gives you alerts as to what are the configurations missing or what is. So VAPT is still required, right? In my opinion, and you will need to do once external VAPT once every year. And when you push your applications, before you push your application, at least internally after every major release. That is the answer, the best answer I can give you. Swami, you want to add anything?
Yeah, one to add one thing. Basically, if you look at it, web application firewall rules are predefined rules are given as part of Cloud Armor. Which are all what are all the possible things they are providing there, and it is the rules is only to say whether something to be allowed or not to allow. It is not at the vulnerabilities. If the application has any vulnerabilities, it will stop. That's it. But it will not do when VAPT, and then it will not get remediated in your application unless and otherwise you do a specific VAPT for your application separately. Then only you can able to do the you will be able to do the remediation. That is my thought process.
Thank you, Swami. So that's all the questions we have for today. We'll wait for another 2 minutes max. If there are no more questions, then maybe we can close the session. If there are any questions, maybe we'll try to take those. But anyway, most of the questions were excellent, and they were intelligent questions, and people from the industry. We urge you to please come out with some more questions if you have any. Even if you don't have now, you can always email us, reach out to us, and if you have any specific concerns, maybe we can help you with those. So the entire webinar was actually targeted for from an auditor's perspective, compliance auditor's perspective, what the compliance auditor will look at when they audit your environment as a cloud service provider at a IaaS level or a PaaS level or any of the flavors of the SaaS offerings that you have. So the whole idea was that you need to look at those areas from an auditor's mind, and if an auditor would request for all of these things when they come and audit you for a cloud environment. That was the whole objective of this exercise. So there are no more questions, and I thank you very much. Thank you for joining this wonderful session, and thank you for your time. I wish you a happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and happy holiday season. And thank you. We will connect next year for the more webinars to come going forward. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You all.